Hi everyone, welcome back to the Nature Patch. My name is Robyn and thank you so much for joining in on another video. Today I thought I would take you on a little garden with me in the afternoon. I didn't particularly feel like talking to the camera on this day, just wanted to get a lot of jobs done, but I still wanted to film it for you all. So I'm doing a voiceover to talk about what I'm getting up to in the video. I started down near the veggie patch, which is soon to be our flower farm, checking up on all of the onions that you would have seen me plant a few months ago. They're all looking really great and starting to bulb up. Some of the ends are looking a little bit sad, but I think they just need a little bit of fertilizer, as onions and garlic kind of need quite a lot of fertilizer. I'm also checking up on my broccoli, which is doing really well, and we have been harvesting some of the sprouting broccoli, which has been absolutely delicious. But the main job that I wanted to do down here today was to thin out all of my beetroot seedlings and just do a little bit of harvesting around. I'm also just taking out some of the weeds in this area. There's not too many, and this is all down to doing the no dig method, where in this area we have overlaid it all with cardboard, and then on top of that we overlaid that with mushroom compost and amendments, and the soil is looking really great and the compost is slowly decomposing and working its way into the natural soil. There's so many worms in this veggie garden, which I'm so happy to see. But as you can see, the beetroot seedlings really did need some thinning, so I'm just lightly pricking these out to make sure that the largest plants have enough space to keep growing. The beetroot is doing pretty slow at this time of the year, but that is expected because it is winter. But I'm hoping that these will pick up soon. We're having a little bit more of a warmer week this week, which is going to be good for them and all of the plants in the garden. But I think I do need to keep up with some regular fertilizing for these. Having a wire cage over this may look a little bit silly, but it is the only thing that is keeping the bandicoot out right now. Growing root crops is really hard when you have a bandicoot that likes to dig up the soil. This was just a makeshift kind of tunnel that I put together. It's not ideal, but for now is doing the job. And I also wanted to pick some peas in the garden. These are just dwarf peas and they're now starting to produce, and they are so delicious. They don't really make it up to the house. They're just usually a garden snack, but I really love snacking on these in the garden. I thought I would also show you kind of some of my favorite things that are happening in my other garden. This is my permaculture zone 1 cottage garden, and as you can see, some of my tulips are popping up now, which is really exciting. These are Queen of the Night tulips, I think, a really nice deep red burgundy color. And all of the other plants are just doing really well. It's starting to look exactly how I wanted it to look, which is kind of like a little bit of a whimsical cottage fairy garden, which I think it is definitely starting to look like that, with these beautiful stunning stock flowers that have just started flowering. They smell absolutely divine and add a nice kind of whimsical look to the garden, as well as the Chinese broccoli, which is still flowering, and the honeybees are absolutely in heaven in those flowers. And some of my pots with my spring bulbs have started to sprout, so I have some daffodils in here, and I've planted this with some lettuce and pansies, and it is looking really pretty. We also just have a lot of bulbs popping up in the garden, where I have just kind of randomly sprinkled them here, there and everywhere, as well as lots of flowers that I am sure are going to be looking absolutely stunning when it comes springtime. And there's just so much beauty in the garden. I love all of the little violas that are planted around, particularly these purple ones. They just look so bright and vibrant against all of the green in the garden, as well as these really cute little pale blue ones. Right, so another job I wanted to do this afternoon was plant some Snapdragons. I have quite a few seedlings and I just really want to sprinkle a few around in the garden, and this is really great for cottage gardens to just fill in all of the gaps, making sure that your garden is really nice and full, which I'm slowly working towards my way doing that here. This garden has only been here for not even really 6 months, so it is still getting very established and is taking its time, but I am being patient, and patience is key with gardening. I'm just adding these in where I had pulled out some of the Chinese broccoli that had gone over, and because these are a little bit taller, they're going to look really nice with the silver beet in front, and then I have some smaller flowers in front of that towards the path. And having this kind of layered effect is going to ensure that the garden looks a little bit more full, and having tiers is going to draw your eye somewhere, and particularly with Snapdragons, because they are one of my favorite flowers, I think they're going to look really whimsical and beautiful in the garden. I also just filled in a few more random spots around the garden, and I think these are also going to look great here and also catch your eye when you're walking through. And I also wanted to get these marigolds in the ground. It's really sad, but I had to pull off this flower because I really want this marigold to be focusing on growing its roots and getting established rather than blooming. So it can be hard, but pulling off flowers before you plant annuals or flowering plants is a good idea, just to make sure that the plant is going to put all of its energy into actually growing and being established rather than flowering. So I'm just adding this in to one of the corners of the garden, and these bright reddy yellow flowers are going to look great. There are so many worms in this no-dig garden bed, so I just had to show you that little one there. Making sure that I'm covering the marigolds with a little bit of mulch. And next to that I had these bush beans that were really dried and really needed to just be pulled up. So I am snipping them from the base, and you can kind of see that some of them are looking pretty sad and moldy. And anyone who can grow or has grown beans over the last few months, I applaud you, because it has been super hard to grow beans and snow peas throughout all of this rain. They just have not liked it at all. And for these beans that I'm shelling out from their pods, I'm actually just going to keep these and use them as green manure rather than eating them, just in case they do have mold, and I saw some of them didn't look too great, so I'm just going to keep these as green manure for the garden. And then the last job that I wanted to do today was take out this turmeric. I had been growing this for about 6 months or so. It wasn't very happy here, to be honest. I don't know whether it was the soil or probably the fact that it just got too much rain. I'm not too sure, but I did get a little bit of a harvest that I'll share with you here. Also wanted to share how many worms were in this. It's probably not a great thing. I'm not sure whether this many worms is actually good for growing turmeric, or whether the worms were imbalancing the soil too much. I have no idea, but wow, there were so many in this pot. I just turned it over and laid the soil on this garden bed here that is kind of another no-dig bed, just to save the soil that I can use for later. And then was just washing them off. It was quite hard because they had so many worms on them. But this is what I got from the turmeric harvest. It was pretty good and is going to last me quite a while. I like to use it in my tea and dry it, so I'm pretty happy with this. And then I just did a few more things in the garden, just walked around, did some weeding, smelled some flowers, and had a lovely afternoon. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are in the world. And until my next one, Happy gardening, everyone. Bye.